Welcome to the video previewing professional speaker Bernadette Trujillo Demo.
Let me give you one way that we can do this. It's what I call the bank account theory. Now, how many of you have a checking account? Can I see a show of hands of those of you that have a checking account? All right, excellent. For those of you that have a checking account, what do you do to keep it healthy? Okay, that's a very good one, Ephemios. Thank you. He said, put money in it. Now, I'd like for you to take this analogy home with you about your relationships, both in your home and in your work environment. They are like bank accounts. And in order to keep them healthy, what must you do? Make regular deposits.
Bernadette delivers dynamic, enthusiastic, high-impact presentations. She specializes in fully customized productions using industry-specific examples, timely information, relevant case studies, and interesting stories guaranteed to inspire, motivate, and increase professional and personal effectiveness. She is a veteran-speaking professional who wins the highest praise for her ability to connect and interact with audiences. Her ability to influence people to make positive choices in their lives is phenomenal. Bernadette has presented to organizations such as the Chrysler Corporation, American Express, Central Intelligence Agency, Columbia Hospital Corporation, American Eagle, Department of the Interior, Houlihan, Lokey, Howard and Zukin, Pittsburgh Housing Authority, Business Professional Women, United States Public Health Services, Los Alamos National Laboratory, Farm Credit Services, and many more.
Now, I know, now that's an anomaly over there, okay? This is for the women in the audience. Do you remember when you first got pregnant, it seemed like everybody was pregnant? You'd walk into Kmart or Walmart or different places, it seemed like you just noticed pregnant people. All right, here's a general question. How many of you have bought a new car at some point in the last 5 years or so? 10 years. Now, did it seem like everybody was driving that car? You'd identify that car out on the highway, right? Well, this is what's happening with compliance. First of all, we're going to increase the awareness. Do you know that second-year medical students have an 80% increase in going to their own physicians to describe medical diseases that they're studying? They're sure they've contracted it. The first thing that we have to recognize that in giving employee feedback, we have to preserve the ego of the employee. In the mid-'80s, there was a crisis going on with middle-aged American men who lost their jobs, and what else do you think they lost simultaneously? Their ego, their self-esteem, you bet. Joni, they thought that they were their jobs, and when they lost their jobs, they didn't have any idea who they were. And so in our American society, in our business society, it's important for us to recognize that close correlation that exists between the employee and their job. So when you give someone feedback, you want to be really careful not to crush their ego, but that you preserve their ego in the process. And so the second element is to focus on the problem, not the personality. Our unconscious or subconscious mind does not know the difference between reality and fantasy. So what I encourage you to do is every day start your day with positive affirmations to tell your subconscious mind things that may not necessarily be true. Now, how many of you love working with people? Can I see a show of hands of those of you? Now, everybody needs to raise their hand if they're AOs because that's what we do here. But, you know, honesty is important. We may not love working with people. And so the first affirmation is that I would encourage you over the next 6 months on your way to work, as you're driving to work, I'd encourage you to say, I love working with people. 5 times on the way to work. I love working with people. Tell your mind that every day, 5 times on the way to work, I love working with people. And people love working with me. What do you think begins happening to your behavior, your professional interactions on a daily basis? It changes because we can't live with that incongruency. So after a while, we will engage in behaviors that allow us not only to love working with people, but will allow people to love working with us. Now this combined with another phenomena that we are creatures of habit have caused us to be somewhat stifled in today's organizations. And I'd like for you to do a couple of things for me. Refold your hands over and see how this feels. Now refold them so that the opposite arm is now on top. Now for some of us, we can't even do that, right? Second homework assignment. Try refolding your hands in opposite directions every time you find yourself sitting. Again, to become comfortable, being a little bit uncomfortable. What law emphasizes cooperation during an investigation? 7, go. 20 minus 20. Experts tell us that a clearly defined problem is a problem that is half solved. With your customer, as you're talking about the issues, find out from their viewpoint what the problem is and talk about your perception as to what the problem is. The second one is listen. Listen to what's going on. Listen not just to what they're saying, but to what? What else are we going to be listening? Their body language, their facial expressions. If you ask them, do you understand? And they do this. Yeah? Do they understand? No!
When excellence is critical to the success of your conference, call and book Bernadette. Your satisfaction is guaranteed.